Back to the YouTube channel, everyone. My name is Sam Levine. Please subscribe if you are new. Turn that notification bell on so you do not miss a single video. You will always get notifications for every video that I post if you turn that bell on. So go ahead and do that. Subscribe, share it with a friend if you like what you see. So today, we're going to be talking about some head coaching fits. There are 6 jobs open currently right now, and I have picked my 6 fits for each of these jobs. So starting it off with the Houston Texans. They finished 4-12 this year, and the thing that I considered the most when picking my guy for this job was they've looked dead this year. They've had no energy, zero excitement, zero. They just didn't look like they were having fun. Just none of it. Check everything in that category as no for the 2020 Houston Texans. So I think, okay, who's a guy that does do all of those things? Who's a younger guy, more energetic, always gets excited guy? And I mean, can you think of a better person than Robert Sala, the 49ers defensive coordinator? I mean, just go back and watch him. Just watch a 49ers game from 2019. He'll be on the sideline screaming and cheering, jumping up and down, rooting for his players. I mean, jumping all over them, getting them pumped up after they make a big play. That is exactly what the Texans need right now. They need a guy that's going to get excited after big plays. They need a guy that's going to get energetic just get energetic in general, in practices, on game day, just talking to each and every player. Coming up with new ideas is another thing that you really look for in a head coach, and he's done that. He did that with the 49ers defense. He took them from a worst to first defense in the NFL and put them in that situation to get to the Super Bowl. I mean, look back. He's had the success. He's had success to prove why he should be a head coach in the NFL. That 49ers defense in 2019 was really the reason why they made the Super Bowl. Robert Sala's led defense, that was the reason. And a lot of people thought he would become a head coach this offseason for the 2020 season. That didn't happen, but there's no reason why he should not be a head coach this offseason. I really like the fit for Houston Texans. Also, another little thing, J.J. Watt and Robert Sala would have a blast together. They would 100% get along so well, and they'd do great things with that defense. They would work together really, really well because J.J. Watt is that same kind of energetic, get in your face, get hyped guy. And if you watched press conferences from J.J. Watt this season, he hasn't looked too pleased whatsoever. He hasn't been happy about any of it, anything that's happened this season. So bringing in a guy like Robert Sala, who he looks like he's having so much fun every single time you see him. You pair him with a guy like J.J. Watt. I mean, I don't see how that could possibly end up in failure. I think that's a great fit. Book it. Robert Sala to the Texans. I love that fit. Now for the New York Jets, the 2-14 New York Jets. I see no better, another situation for the Texans, I see no better guy to go here than Eric Bieniemy from the Kansas City Chiefs. The Jets need new creative ideas, especially offensively. This is kind of a situation where I see not kind of like the Packers a couple years ago with Mike McCarthy. Just bear with me, though, because obviously the Jets didn't have the previous success that Green Bay did, but it's kind of the same situation where, the Jets have just gotten stale. You watch their offense, they're not exciting. There's nothing going on creative, nothing new, nothing innovative. They aren't scheming their younger players to get manufactured touches to them. They aren't really doing that in a way to help develop their younger players. And the guy that is perfect for that, the guy that is perfect at scheming players into profitable situations is Eric Bieniemy. Just look what he's done with Mecole Hardman. A lot of people thought it was probably, myself included, a reach to get Mecole Hardman in the second round of the 2019 draft. But you look at what he's been able to do. He's been such a good complementary player to Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce because Eric Bieniemy is scheming him into situations that are good for him and very good for the team because you get him out in the open field, he has got some speed to burn. You get him out in the open field, anytime he touches the ball, he could go for a touchdown. So it's not about just getting a wide receiver, putting him on the outside and saying go. It's about getting the guys and using them in a situation that you think will be good for the development of the player and for the success of your team. Another very good example of that is Clyde Edwards-Zelaire. Edwards-Zelaire is going to the Pro Bowl this year, a large part due because Eric Bieniemy knows his players. He knows how to use his players. He's watched the tape on Edwards-Zelaire. He understands that he's a very good pass-catching back. So what did he do? He's used him in a lot of passing situations this year instead of a guy like Le'Veon Bell, who is famously a very good pass catcher. So you're putting that guy on the field. You're developing your young star, your first-round pick, and it ended in a first-year rookie Pro Bowl appearance. That is Mecole Hardman and Clyde Edwards-Helaire that have both been Pro Bowlers. They had a rookie in the Pro Bowl in back-to-back years. That is impressive. And you look at Eric Bieniemy, what he's going to be able to he is going to be tasked with developing probably Justin Fields, because they're probably going to draft Justin Fields with that number 2 pick. Probably get another wide receiver to go along with Denzel Mims, but you have Denzel Mims there too, so that's another guy you need to develop. They probably could go ahead and pick up a running back, so you get the idea. They're going to have new faces on the offensive side of the ball, so, I mean, you put Bieniemy on there, he's going to be able to scheme those guys and develop them very, very nicely. I think Bieniemy is a great pick for the New York Jets. Now, the Atlanta Falcons, the 4-12 Atlanta Falcons. This is one that probably the most obscure one out of all of these on the list. People aren't really talking about this guy as heavily as some of the other candidates, but I still think he is a fantastic candidate, fantastic coordinator, and should really be talked about more. That's going to be Brandon Staley, the Rams defensive coordinator. The Falcons' defense is horrendous, and Staley is one of the few defensive coordinators that I would go after in the NFL. He's led the Rams in his first year as their defensive this is just his first year as the defensive coordinator. He's led them to being the best defense statistically in the NFL. They are the number 1 ranked unit in the NFL. That is incredible. He's really taken them from worst to first, and top 3 in every major stat as well. So it's not just like a fluke and it's skewed one way, right? So I understand what you might be saying, though. He already has Jalen Ramsey. He already has Aaron Donald. But you look at what he's been able to do. He's really helped. I've talked about it with Eric Bieniemy. He's really helped his scheme and the way he calls play, or the way the way his scheme is out there and is beneficial to the players is undeniable. You look at, John Johnson, Leonard Floyd, not Leonard Fournette, and the way Darius Williams, all 3 of those guys have prospered under Staley's defense. It's incredible. The defense has been so much better because of Staley. And Staley, he's a young guy too. He's 38. Keep talking about those younger guys going to bring in new ideas, creative ideas. And also, another thing is by bringing in Staley, you're not going to go ahead and just fix the defense right away by bringing in a defensive head coach, but he is a great defensive head coach, and you are on the path to taking the next steps into fixing your franchise. And also, if you can fix the defense relatively quickly, maybe in 2020 if you have a good draft and a good free agency by bringing in Staley as well, then you could compete in 2020. You could have a shot at making the playoffs in 2020, especially with the expanded playoffs now, 7 teams per conference, and that offense is still very good. You have Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, if they all stay there this offseason. Also, Calvin Ridley, who had a serious breakout year. Hayden Hurst. You need to find a running back, but that's okay because the passing attack is very, very good. Matt Ryan had a very good year. Very good. They finished 4-12, but he had a solid year. He finished top 5 in passing yards. So if you can get this team a good defense, they have an opportunity to compete. And I think Brandon Staley, not only is he young, he's going to be creative. He's going to bring an infusion of innovation to this team that really needs that, because they've looked stale. With Dan Quinn, they look stale. They need a new young guy, 38-year-old Brandon Staley. It just fits. I think it works perfectly. I really, really like that pick. Now for the Detroit Lions. The 5-11 Detroit Lions. I'm going Greg Roman, the Ravens offensive coordinator. Roman is a very smart coordinator in understanding his players and what he has to work with. This guy's been the best offensive coordinators and the best defensive coordinators as well. Bring in very good players and adapt their scheme around those players. Roman, that's what he does, right? That's what he does, and we see that work. We see that success pay off on the field. He's had Lamar Jackson, J.K. Dobbins, Mark Ingram, Justice Hill, Gus Edwards, and you have all those great runners. So you run the football, and that works. It's not just, okay, we have a lot of really good running backs, we have a good running quarterback, so we're going to run the football. No, he devises smart plays. He devises plays that a lot going on the play really makes you think as a defense, right? So he's very smart in that way because not only does he understand who he has to work with, he also understands his strengths and weaknesses of his team, and he calls plays accordingly, but he also doesn't hand it to you. It's not as easy on defensive coordinators as looking at their roster. Okay, they're a really good running team. They have a bunch of good running backs, so they're going to run the football a lot. No, he makes it hard on you. You have to think. They run a lot of interesting sets. They run a lot of 3 tight end sets and throw out of it as well. They use the play action to their advantage. They roll out Lamar Jackson a lot on designed pass plays, but have him run as a result of that. And that's really what I think the Lions need right now. Again, I keep saying it for a lot of these teams, but the Lions, they've looked stale. They just look stale, especially offensively. And you can't be wasting Matt Stafford's career here because he's getting up there in age, right? He's not quite there so old yet, but he's not young either. And he is a very good quarterback. You need to take advantage of the years that you have left in him. Getting Greg Roman, I think, would do wonders for him because now he has a really good offensive-minded head coach who he can work with to help get them to that next level. You also have young guys like DeAndre Swift, Kenny Golladay, TJ Hawkinson, who you can work around on that offense to create smart plays, to create plays that are going to make the defense work just that little bit extra harder, and kind of a modernized playbook. Because the Lions haven't looked like they have a modernized offense in recent years. They look like they've been behind the times. Greg Roman, I mean, in my opinion, you could say he's the most modernized offensive coordinator and has the most modern playbook out of any offensive coordinator, out of any team, out of any head coach in the NFL. What he's been able to do with Lamar Jackson and that running game is nothing short of remarkable. Kind of changing the way that you look out at offenses because previous to that, it's been a passing league, and it still is a passing league, but it shows that you can win in different ways. Now on to the Jacksonville Jaguars, the 5th team out of 6. Urban Meyer, former OSU and UF head coach. He's never been in the NFL, only a college football quarterback exclusively. I will admit this wasn't my idea. Meyer has been the early favorite for this Jacksonville Jaguars job, so I thought I might touch on it anyway. So here's my opportunity, but I also love the pick. I love the fit because they have a lot of really, really young starters on this team. DJ Chark, Laviska Shenault, James Robinson, Jawan Taylor, Josh Allen, Caleb Von Chason, CJ Henderson, Daniel Thomas, and Andrew Wingard. I was going to say Alex. Andrew Wingard are 9. That's 9 starters that are all 3 years into their NFL careers or less. Okay? That is a lot of starters. That's 9 out of 22. And also, that number is definitely going to increase because they have the number 1 overall pick. They're probably going to get Trevor Lawrence, so add another one to that list. He's going to be their starting quarterback from day 1. You're also probably going to get another starter in the second round since you have a glorified first-round pick with pick 33. Now add another one, 11 out of 22. Now you have half your starters are 3 years or under in experience. Well, you're asking me why is this significant? Why does it matter that Urban Meyer is a college football head coach and that all these players are young? Why does that work? Well, I'll tell you why it works, because it means, obviously, that all these players are relatively fresh out of college. And a lot of players, I'm not saying all, right, because obviously a lot of rookies, a good amount of rookies, adjust pretty quickly to the NFL and don't have much of a struggle. But I will say, in this situation for the Jaguars, they've had a fair amount of rookies and younger players who've had a little bit of a tough time adjusting to the NFL and the way that the NFL works. Urban Meyer, he's played. You see where I'm going with this. Urban Meyer, college football head coach. A lot of teams that we see go from worst to first are those teams that go with simplified playbooks and teams that go with a kind of a, I don't want to say dumbed down, but kind of a dumbed down playbook for those younger players. We saw it with the Bears. We saw it with the 49ers last year. It worked very successfully for both of those teams in those years that they went from worst to first. It's usually a new scheme, new offense, presumably sometimes a new defense, but it's always oversimplified. Usually a lot of college aspects to that playbook, and that works a lot of the time for those younger players because they're used to a college offense. They're used to a college defense. It's something that they feel comfortable in, and half the battle is being comfortable because these young players, a lot of the time, a lot of the reason why they aren't successful so early on is because they don't feel comfortable with what they are running. Well, with Urban Meyer understands that because he's coached young college football players for his entire career. So he understands what they are thinking. He understands how to win with these guys, and he knows what to do with these players because he's also coached against a lot of them. You have to remember that he's coached against a lot of these players in his collegiate career. So he knows the ins and outs of what these players are thinking. He knows the ins and outs of how to use them. And I love this pick because Meyer will really be able to help develop these younger players. That's what he's been able to do. And not to mention, he's had incredible success. He has 3 national championships to his credit. And in 17 seasons coaching in the FBS, hasn't had a losing season. So not too shabby of a resume there. I really like that fit. Urban Meyer to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I like it. Now, the pick that I'm most proud of is the Los Angeles Chargers pick. They fired Anthony Lynn recently. This fit, I love it. I am so proud of this one for putting this one together. This is going to be Brian Daboll, the Bills offensive coordinator to the Los Angeles Chargers. I really like it. I'm very proud of this one because Just think about it for a second. The Chargers right now are basically in the same situation that the Buffalo Bills have been for the last couple of years. You have a really big, strong, young quarterback with all the potential in the world and a fantastic arm talent. Chargers have that in Justin Herbert. Josh Allen, I mean, that he fits that bill perfectly. So check in the quarterback box. You have a superstar wide receiver in Keenan Allen. The Bills' equivalent to that is Stephon Diggs, and when you think about both those players, they have a very similar play style. Both are fantastic route runners. Neither have top-tier speed, but both have good speed, but they win mostly with their route running. Very reliable, very good hands. Both had over 100 catches this season, okay? And Diggs is also, quick to mention, Stephon Diggs is having a career year in Brian Daboll's system. So Keenan Allen his production could even go up if you bring in Brian Daboll. So that, another check in the wide receiver box. Also, take a look in the backfield. Young power backs in Joshua Kelly and Justin Jackson, who have shown great potential for the Los Angeles Chargers. And in Buffalo, you have Zach Moss, who has been especially very, very good for a third-round running back who got injured earlier on in the year. He's been a solid player for that team. Another power back guy who's shown potential. And, well, something that you look at, so 3 checks, running back, wide receiver, quarterback. That is most of your offense that you're looking at that is very similar to the Bills situation. So I really like that fit because Brian Daboll has been able to create a a top 3 offense in the NFL with exactly that. So who's to say he won't be able to do it here in Los Angeles? So you look at Josh Allen for a second. Josh Allen this season has improved in mainly the decision-making and accuracy departments. Well, you look at Herbert's game, Justin Herbert, and he's pretty good already at both of those things. I wouldn't say he doesn't need to improve there because you can always improve, and he is, of course, a rookie, but he's solid at both of those things. So Brian Daboll will be able to come in and really use those elite skills of Herbert's already, hone in on them, harness them, and let them explode like he's done this season with Allen. It could be a very quick turnaround for the Chargers. And also, if you've noticed, they have the best record by a long shot out of any of these teams on this roster. They are 7-9. So 7-9 is not a good record, but I mean it's not that bottom tier. So you could see a very quick turnaround if they bring in Brian Daboll into this team and really turn around that offense. I really like this fit because if they just go 9-7, have a 2-game swing, they have a good shot to make the playoffs because that is the 7 teams per conference making the playoffs that's new this year. So I really like the fit. I think Brian Daboll will be able to do very good things with the Los Angeles Chargers and with Justin Herbert. So those are my fits for the 6 head coaching spots available. I think these are good. Let me know down below in the comments what you guys think about my fits, who you guys would put in these situations. That's going to do it for episode 15 of First and Goal on YouTube. Please subscribe. Turn on that notification bell so you don't miss a single episode. Greatly appreciated. Share it with a friend if you enjoyed what you saw. Also, go check out the podcast, First and Goal, with Sam Levine. That is available wherever you listen to your podcasts on iTunes, Spotify, Google, wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, go swing by the website, firstandgoalfootballtalk.com, to catch up on all the articles that I write, everything going on in the football and college football, NFL and college football world. You can read up on it there and stay in the loop about everything that I post, record, broadcast, whatever it is. Follow the Twitter, First and Goal FB. So that's going to do it. Until next time, I will see you.